Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere in between two formerly tariff nations. Hello, everybody. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Friday, March 28th, 2025. And this is the Agree to Disagree show here on the New American Media because the old American media has failed you. Did that pause? Did that glitch? I think that did pause and glitch, didn't it? That was weird, but we're back. I believe we're back. Checking to make sure all of the streams are working here on Rumble and on... Okay, there we go. That was a strange glitch, wasn't it? Facebook is working. Let me share this to my other groups. The Unhappy Hour Sports Show, TNAM's The Agree to Disagree Show. I'll do TNAM Fake News, Debunking Conspiracy Theories and Propaganda Group, TNAM Preparedness Group. And I will say, join us live to try to get everybody into the conversation. Perfect. If you have any comments, please hit like, hit subscribe. Kablamo. We got Ken. Ken's into hizzy. What up, K? Special K. So, big news. Oh my gosh, we are back on YouTube. I actually sent a message. They haven't removed my strike, but they did bring us back so we can broadcast. I loathe. I'm not a big fan of the YouTube right now. That's why that's why we like to use a Rumble. Yes. Yes. Please follow us in all the places. Let me put all the places where you can follow us on the screen. I'll tell you about them in a second. But first, I want to tell you that we're going to talk about a massive earthquake, stunning photos that we're going to share with you. I mean, massive high-rise buildings with what I assume to be rooftop pools. Well, you'll see. Just the images are stunning. Still trying to figure out what type of damage exactly has occurred. A 7.7 earthquake. I'll tell you where in a moment. Not in the United States, but we'll take a look. We're going to talk about the new Zelda movie on the heels of this cataclysmic, catastrophic, disastrous Disney debacle called Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. We just found out that there's going to be a Zelda movie. Any gamers out there? We are streaming on Twitch and Kick now. D Live, we're still having a hard time. The D is giving us a hard time. Hard. So, we're going to talk about the Zelda movie. And just in general, what is going on with all of the retread? No, I said retreaded, not re-other something. It's a bad word. You're not supposed to say. I don't know why that became something you're not supposed to say. I don't know when it happened. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Linda McMahon in the Department of Education telling Governor Gavin Newsom, hey, bro, you got to get the dudes out of your lady sports or you're going to lose your funding. Huzzah. It's like we're living in a cuckoo clock where we have to fight for this normalcy. No one's saying that a guy can't pretend to be a lady. You can dress how you want to dress. Do your thing. You shouldn't get abused for it. Yes, damn Disney. Unholy hoax. How are you, sir? Good to have you in the room. I believe Unholy Hoax is one of the one of our Patreon members. We're on patreon.com/the New American Media. So link up with us there. Some people you can join for free. Or you could sign up to do like $5 a month, $15 a month, $100 a month, $1,000 a month. It's all appreciated. The overhead for life is many thousands a month. So, it all helps. You could help buy us a cup of coffee. It might, I was looking the other day, our electricity cost is $5 a day. Our electric and gas cost is, I'm kind of breaking down how many dollars per day does it cost just to exist. Have you ever done that? I did that. At end of the month, paying all the bills, and you're like, yeah, okay. So about $5 a month in electricity, about $5 a day for electricity, and then for gas or what's the other one? Water, another $5 a day, and then internet divided out, it's a couple bucks a day. So it all adds up. So even a cup of coffee makes a big difference. Unholy Hoax is one of the people over on patreon.com/the New American Media. So if anybody would like to sign up, like we had a new subscriber recently, thank you to that person. I don't know you personally, which is super cool. So it's like sometimes I go, well, why do I talk about this every show? Doesn't it get a little annoying? I mean, it just is what it is, brought to you by viewers like you, says PBS, although they're taking government money. But if I hadn't said that or linked that or mentioned it, maybe we wouldn't have had that new subscriber. So that's over there, patreon.com /the New American Media. Also, Cash App, $ Brian Engelman, on PayPal at Fuzz Installment, and Venmo at Brian Engelman, spelled at the bottom of the screen, BrianEngelman. Although, during my stand-up comedy performance this week, I explained the story of how I became Brain. Yes. Actually, I did send that to Kenneth. Yes, Kenneth, I am back on YouTube. But I urge everybody to go to Rumble. Rumble is the new YouTube. And just recently, this week, Steven Crowder said he's going to only be uploading new content to Rumble. He's sick of messing around with YouTube and their games and their censorship. And they're really, it's a way to kneecap and steal the ad revenue. Because we don't contribute thousands of hours of our lives. What is Malcolm Gladwell, 10,000 hours to become an expert? Yeah, I got 10,000 hours locked into studying the news, learning what's happening, trying to get a lay of the land, and trying to deliver the information to you in a solid, concise, precise, and entertaining way. And we do that in exchange to earn ad revenue to pay the bills. I'm mentioning $5 a day for electricity. How much a day for the... Actually, I haven't done the math. Do I dare do the math? I really shouldn't. It might... Well, no, let's just do it. Let's just say the overhead, how many days in a month? We'll just call it 30. Yeah, I mean, look, we have a reasonable operation here, and it's still $50 a day for mortgage. And that's before all the... Anyway, not to bore you with all the nuts and bolts of it, but YouTube messes with creative people like myself, like Steven Crowder, like anybody who's not a left-wing lunatic. They don't let us earn money, or they'll let you taste money for a while and then they take it away. Then they give you a strike and they censor your account. They shut you down. They're like, haha, I got you. You better not talk about U.S. aid again. That was the video that we did that got us banned. U.S. aid. They don't want us talking about U.S. aid, so I will shout U.S. aid from the rooftops. U.S. aid. Let's do a song, everybody. U.S. aid. Yes, Kenneth, Pinky in the Brain. I was called Pinky in the Brain. That was one of the times. I don't think I mentioned that in my stand-up set this week. I think I did last week. But I worked at a place and they called me Pinky in the Brain. That was my nickname from the kitchen managers, the kitchen crew. And I was a server, a bartender. Pinky and the Brain. Maybe I have some powerful coffee today. I'm feeling jazzed up. But it's nice to be back on YouTube. I hate YouTube. I hate Google. I hate Alphabet. I hate what they did to ruin YouTube. But YouTube used to be a fantastic place. I long for the days where ABC, ESPN, Disney were an enjoyable company putting out quality content. I mean, how long has it been since Jimmy Kimmel's been funny? Probably since Trump went up the escalator or went down the escalator. Did Trump go up or down the escalator? Can someone tell me in the comments? Yeah, damn Disney and the Dems. Whew, that's a triple word score, Unholy Hoax. Damn Disney and the Dems. I mean, look, Aladdin with Robin Williams, that was an awesome movie. And I used to have a Disney season pass. By the way, my Disney season pass says brain on it because I had that ID, that California driver's license for a long time that said brain. But I had a season pass and I used to go to Disney. We would go on a regular basis. Just it's a great way to just go hang out and enjoy a day in the sun and walking around, maybe grab a bite to eat and grab a beverage and ride some rides and do some sketches. And we would go to the live performance theater and see their interpretation of Aladdin. And it was cool because the genie would have current jokes. You know, it wasn't just saying stuff from the movie. It was like talking about things in the news now. Very, very current and timely, contemporary. And it was a good performance. But Disney's been woke and stupid for years now. I think the Obama doctrine ruined Disney, ABC, ESPN. How long has it been since ESPN? That's one company, by the way. Disney, ABC, ESPN. One, company essentially. They tried their damnedest to ruin sports. I'm a sports fan. I'm a massive sports fan. Take a look. This is my other show, the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. Thank you to Ted Distel of Distel Design for creating that for me. Disney, ABC, ESPN, pushing the whack-ass narrative that everybody's racist because Colin Kaepernick didn't get a massive contract. They bought into that hook, line, and sinker, the Obama doctrine, pushing division everywhere he could. He got his claws into LeBron James. Now we got to all wear hoodies like Trayvon Martin. Do ya? We're an I Can't Breathe shirt. Every single thing that the sports world could push. Hey, Caitlyn Jenner, isn't this bold and beautiful? Isn't it? What did South Park say? Stunning and brave. Oh, stunning and brave. So stunning and brave. Okay. Can I just watch sports? Nope. Everything needs to be divisive in sports, and it has been. And I'm bitter about it. I'm annoyed that I can't have that escape without having this push. Bubba Wallace. Remember the Bubba Wallace, the black NASCAR driver that caused a stir by complaining, his crew complaining, I believe, accusing whichever motor speedway that was. And by the way, I got that motor speedway as an account. Another story from a different job that I was working, but it just wasn't that one motor speedway. I had all of NASCAR across the country. It was a mega account. Anyway, there was a noose. I was targeted. Our team was targeted. There's a noose in our garage. You mean the rope that dangles from the bottom of the rolling garage door when it goes up and it has a loop tied to it so you can grab the handle and pull it down? Okay. But ABC, ESPN, Disney, they loved pushing that story. Anything to say whitey bad, America bad, racism. Shh, you sit down. You be quiet. Shh, you sit down. You be quiet. You're white. You're a man. You're straight. You're Christian. Sit down. Shut up. Sit down. Shut up. We're in charge. Shut up. We're going to bombard you from every single angle. The Ingram angle. Kenneth, I'm doing it now. I'm saying things and then I'm like the things you type. You know who else does that? Mark Normand. If you watch him on his podcast, he's like, you can see how his comedian brain is trained to find things that rhyme, find things that sound similar, I don't know. I guess you do become a amalgamation of the 5 people you spend the most time with or something like that. But yeah, baseball is back. look, the Obama doctrine, I've talked about it at length. He tried everything he could do to weaponize what he learned is a community agitator or organizer, in the same vein of Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, and every other race hoaxer that we've seen. Anybody that could profit off of shaming, intimidating, threatening, and performing shakedowns on companies and individuals. Remember the Duke lacrosse story? That was a nice sports hoax. Maybe that was the first big race hoax in the world of sports. Anyway, I just it upsets me that I can't click on a Disney product, and even now, with all the accusations on Tom Hanks. By the way, Tom Hanks was the voice of the Cleveland Indians, changing their name because of George Floyd or something. Whitewashing the rich history of the Cleveland Indians franchise, the rich barrier-breaking history of the Cleveland Indians, who had the first American League black ball player, the first American League black manager, that's Larry Doby and Frank Robinson, respectively, had the first Native American player, Louis Sockalexis, on our team. So the other sports writers are like, oh, we're playing the Cleveland Indians. Like, hey, we got the Boston Braves, we got the Florida Seminoles, we got the Chicago Blackhawks, or whatever, whichever teams there were at the time. It was a new thing to kind of name your team after some sort of Indian heritage, native heritage. And they weren't native to anywhere. They were nomadic peoples. They were moving across everywhere from the Bering Strait over the United States, down into Central America, down into South America, up into Canada. Like, these were moving. They were indigenous, and we're bad. Okay, Obama doctrine. Okay, but yeah, Tom Hanks and all the things he's been accused of. Look, we're all innocent unless proven guilty. But my God, there could not be any smoke signals darker, thicker, stronger, larger, bigger, blacker, uncut. Wasn't that the Chris Rock thing? Dude, I'm on one right now. I don't know if I'm rambling or being entertaining. Welcome to our rambletainment. But it's what I do. This is my opening monologue. This is me dumping the contents of my brain. Brain. Which way is the... I feel like my hat's crooked. Am I crooked? Is my life crooked? Okay. I do have a little bit of shadow. Should I lose the hat? I'll wear the hat today. I liked Toy Story. I liked Aladdin. I liked a lot of Disney movies. They're fun. Tim Allen and like the voices, like it was neat. But man, this woke garbage, this Snow White trash that they put out, ESPN, it's been unwatchable. Now it's calmed down a little bit. But man, was Obama pulling those puppet strings, getting LeBron to, you're a modern day Muhammad Ali. You got to be out there on every social issue. Hey, remember that police officer that saved that lady, that girl, from getting stabbed to death? And the cop showed up and shot her to save the girl from getting stabbed? Oh, LeBron doxed him, just like Spike Lee doxed what he thought was George Zimmerman. And it wasn't. It was an elderly couple that had to move. So the world has been weaponized. And it's sad. And I don't want my world to be like this. I saw Scott Adams yesterday. Let me pull this up because this is relevant. I don't think I had it in my stack of stories. But I do want to share this with you. Scott Adams Department. All right, check this out. This is pretty great. I actually didn't hear this. I do like listening to his shows. I don't remember this clip, but let's share it with you. Let me share the screen here. Oh, so anyway, let me just say it out loud before I get to it. Anyway, my point of all of this is I want to get back to a world where things are awesome, like the 90s. 2000, 1999, when society peaked at Woodstock and everything went downhill since. There were fires and a couple of bad things happened. Yep, a couple bad things happened and a bunch of awesome stuff happened. Such is life. You can fixate on the couple of bad things, you can focus on the awesome stuff. Society peaked in the 90s. I want to go back to having fun. I want to go back to like the way things used to be. Before 9/11, before Obama. Those two things ruined so much. That's my point. I want to get back to that. And yesterday, the Cleveland Indians, Cleveland Guardians, it is so hard for me to try to be a fan and talk about it because it's almost like no, it's not like Kunta Kinte. Your name's Toby. Kunta, Toby, Kunta. You're comparing a slave having to change his name to your racist team changing the name to Guardians? That is so offensive. Every time I have to say Cleveland Guardians, it's me having to swallow and accept that because of the George Floyd Democrat weaponization, summer of love, domestic terrorism campaign throughout 2020 to throw Trump out of office in a coup. Read the Time magazine article about how they fortified the election against Trump. Oh, there's a lot of ways that election went wonky. A lot of ways. And some, I assume, will still be proven. By the way, go to cisa.gov/rumor control because they want you to have a countervailing view saying that was the only free and fair election in the history of elections, by the way. That's at the bottom of the screen. And just in case, go to CDC and the WHO websites for countervailing views on health. I have to do that under duress. I'm treated like a child by the social media companies, people. Every time I say Cleveland Guardians, it's like the woke crowd going, yeah, we did that. Yeah, we changed that. Yeah, you got to say that every day. Yeah, we took something away from you. And as a sports fan, taking away your favorite team should be criminal. I had a chance to root for the Cleveland Indians to win a World Series championship in 1995, in 1997. We were one game away from eliminating the Boston Red Sox in 2007 to play the Colorado Rockies, and we were extremely overmatched. I have a suspicion. Let me rephrase this. We would have trounced the Rockies. You never know. You don't know until you play the game. That's why you play the game. But that was a very winnable World Series, and we squandered that opportunity. And then in 2016, the rain delay kind of changed everything. And I've been waiting for my championship with the Cleveland Indians my whole life. And because our owner, Dolan, in the George Floyd Democrat terrorism summer of love of 2020, made a push to change Uncle Ben's and Aunt Jemima, the Washington Redskins, my Cleveland Indians, with the help of Tom freaking Hanks, complete deep state linked Tom Hanks, also got his acting start in Cleveland, and it was an Indians fan. They took our team away. I will never get to celebrate a Cleveland Indians championship, but I'm salty about it. It irks me. The history of the Cleveland Indians, we put the first black player in the American League, the first black manager in the American League, and the first Indian, first Native American, first indigenous human into baseball. But now we don't get to talk about that. We don't have that history. We don't have that lineage. They said this guy, oh, he's a bad mascot. Do you see how awesome this cartoon character is? He's a cartoon. Look at that smile. How do you not see his smile and not be happy? I kind of look like this guy. Don't I look like this guy? Hey, maybe I should do ventriloquism for my next stand-up bit. You can hardly see my mouth moving, right? This is weird and creepy, especially with my crazy eyes. Now I look like a Democrat, right? Don't you want to? But baseball's back. The Cleveland Guardians won yesterday. I'm excited about it. Kyle Manzardo came up clutch. Manuel Clase blew the save on the road against Kansas City. But we came back. We fought. We got the win. 161 games left. I think it's 162 still. Baseball's back. Spring is here. New beginnings. I'm so happy about all of that. Let me tell you about what Scott Adams had to say. Let's jump into our show topics, shall we? All right. Sharing the screen. Here we go. How do I want to do this? Which go side by side? Yeah, this will work. Let's go with this. All right. Here's Scott Adams talking. I want Bobby Kennedy. I think it's going to be important that we focus on having some mental health treatment for those suffering from Trump derangement syndrome. The things that the Democrats are freaked out about don't exist. And it's time we start acknowledging that. And I really do want HHS to try to help unbrainwash the brainwashed, the abused. If you've watched CNN or MSNBC unironically over the past 20 years, these people are lost. They believe things that are not there. They say things that are not true. They believe in the opposite of reality. Scott often says it's like you're at a movie theater, but two movies are playing on the same exact screen. And we're seeing two completely different things with the same set of facts. And we really do have to do something to help the mental health, to help repair the broken mental health of these people. So here's Scott Adams talking about his new idea. I think it's great.
So now that we know that the big problem was the imaginary concern of what could have happened but didn't happen, I've suggested that Trump should create a department.
Let me just back it up for a second. I believe he's in this clip, he's talking about Signal. Oh my gosh. Yes, it says the Signal app drama has Scott Adams. Well, yes, it's about the Signal freak out. Much ado about nothing. Nobody was hurt. Nothing was lost. It's a teachable experience. Now we're really rethinking Signal. Maybe Elon will develop a new end-to-end encrypted app to use that really can't be hacked. Dude, we got a super genius working for this government for the first time. Like, maybe not for the first time, but my God. How about we create a new Signal type app that is unhackable? And maybe on these shared channels, you can't just be initials. And maybe on these shared channels, you have to do some sort of verification that you are you, and you have to scan your face to let you in, to unlock it. All right. This is a teachable moment, and we have an opportunity to innovate. Or we could just freak out about something that didn't happen. So let me reset this. I just want to make sure you have the context here.
So now that we know that the big problem was the imaginary concern of what could have happened but didn't happen, I've suggested that Trump should create a department of imaginary concerns, and it would be only to handle Democrat complaints. And the new department could have imaginary policies to combat the imaginary concerns. So you would place things like climate change in there. Climate change, at least the crisis part of the climate change. You put the Russia collusion thing in there. You put the Houthis could have found out by hacking Signal in there. You put Trump might steal your democracy in the imaginary concerns department. That Musk might steal our social security numbers. That you put that right in the Department of Imaginary Concerns, and that there might be a constitutional crisis. Yep, that's the Department of Imaginary Concerns. Now, I'm not completely serious about this, but just think how funny it would be.
Listen, you want to call attention to something? The ultimate troll move? The Department of Imaginary Concerns is kind of genius. And you could put all of your hoaxes there And you could really work with Bobby Kennedy to kind of say, hey, if you're believing these things, if you think that the Russia hoax was something that actually happened to put President Trump into office, then work with us to help restore your mental sanity.
If every time one of these hoaxes comes up and Trump is asked about it, he says, "Oh, I've delegated that to the Department of Imaginary Concerns." But are you trying to steal our democracy? That's a perfectly good question. So I've delegated that to the Department of Imaginary Concerns. Did you agree with Putin to have sex with him if he stops the fighting? Well, no, but I'm gonna assign that to the Department of Imaginary Concerns, and we'll come up with an imaginary policy to make sure it doesn't happen again.
I love everything about that.
So now that we know
everything about that. All right, let's jump into, let's just start with X since we're already here. So this is what it looks like when we So it doesn't actually pop up in the window? Let me do a test comment here. That's weird that it wouldn't show up as like a watchable box. It's a link. I don't like that at all. I'm going to say join our live show right now. I didn't notice that before. By clicking the link. Hey, Link and Zelda. Hey, now. Okay, now that's weird. Do you see what just happened on my screen? How long of a delay is it? You'll see when I start turning my head. 10-second delay? 15-second delay? Whew, this is Inception. There we go. 20-second delay. But it wasn't like that before. It was just a link. The weirdest shit happens with my technology, I'm telling you. You all saw that happen. It was a blue link instead of the box. So I changed it, and then it changed to the box. Well, what's in the box? Anyway, yes, I'll do this. I'll show you the first. Whoa. I will share with you the first couple of seconds of our documentary. It's still important. There's still problems in Western North Carolina. Here's just the intro of our documentary, Hurricane Helene, Help on the Way. Whoop, where's the volume? Took it down. Blake Wally and I created this project. Pretty happy with it. So check it out real quick, and then we'll move on to the rest of the stories.
There was no notifications going to your phone, like an Amber Alert, like evacuate. I get alerts from Denny's. There actually was a bunch of houses right here that aren't here now. You can see, look how big the river is, like the riverbed. Holy, look at this Dollar General, bro.
It blesses your heart to see the way people have come together.
Yeah. I heard like 4 different people talking about like how everybody's just worried this initial hype's gonna die away and people are just gonna forget about it. And really none of these communities can afford to be forgotten.
So if you could do me the kindness of sharing that, liking that, that would be greatly appreciated. All right. Stopping sharing that link, and let's go over to share this other link and continue on our news today. I don't think this is the one I want. Let's go back to this one. All right. Look, now it's working. Now we're back. That's great. I don't think this is the one I want. Let's go back to this one. Bravo. Okay. So here you go. Disaster News is reporting the moment of the 7.7 magnitude powerful earthquake in Bangkok, Thailand. Yeah, lots of images of water. It appears like rooftop pools are spilling over. I want to be there. Whoa, that's not good. What was that? Oh, God. That's something under construction? I hope that was, man, people had to get hurt. That was full of construction workers. Everybody on the ground, man, should cover. Oh, man.
เวียนหัวแล้วเนี่ย
ตึกถล่มมาแล้ว
Oh, man. Dear Lord, give these people strength and comfort. So it looks like several different angles of that same video. Let me ask Grok. How many? There you go. How many injured? What are the stats? "50 people injured in the building collapse. 50 injuries because of the collapse. 1 death confirmed. 68 injuries. 5 critical, 19 serious, 44 slight." All right. Well, prayers to these people. I mean, this could happen anywhere. So just be aware, people. Be aware. Why weren't we aware of this person? I mean, I guess we were, and they put exactly who they wanted in this position. State-funded media, says Amuse. NPR CEO Catherine Maher, M-A-H-E-R, Maher, explained. Well, let's just let her talk in her words and tell us what you think of this.
But one of the most significant differences, critical for moving from polarization to productivity, is that the Wikipedians who write these articles aren't actually focused on finding the truth.
Wikipedians? Oh, that's an awesome phrase. Wikipedians. I identify as a Wikipedian.
Critical for moving from polarization to productivity is that the Wikipedians who write these articles aren't actually focused on finding the truth. They're working for something that's a little bit more attainable, which is the best of what we can know right now. And after 7 years there, I actually believe that they're onto something. That for our most tricky disagreements, seeking the truth and seeking to convince others of the truth isn't necessarily the best place to start. In fact, I think our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus and getting important things done. But
Did
one
you
of the
catch
most
that last
significant
part?
differences
I played this before. I'm going to play it
that
one
is
more time.
preventing us might become
This is the most creepy, diabolical, mental illness, Orwellian, newspeak, mind F that you'll ever hear. They're trying to get things done. I'll let her play it one more. I'll let her say it one more time. It's the beauty of these videos. Just wind them up and let them talk. I'm telling you, these people under the Obama doctrine, they felt invincible. They felt bulletproof. They took their masks off, like the end of a Scooby-Doo episode. They took their masks off. That's a tough word to say. Masks. Their masks. The mask came off.
I think our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus and getting
our reverence from one more time.
A bit of a distraction that is preventing us from truth might have become
Our reverence
Place
for
to
the truth.
start.
Sorry, I missed.
In fact, I think our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction.
Our reverence for the truth has become a distraction. Meaning, let's not tell the truth.
That is preventing us from finding consensus.
Because when we tell the truth, we can't all be on the same page.
And getting important things done.
And then we can't get important things done. Dude, this phrase sums up the Obama doctrine. Completely. There might be no better phrase out there. You don't let truth get in the way of a good narrative. LeBron, Obama, Democrats. God, that is creepy. So yeah, NPR, they're at the front and center right now, getting grilled on Capitol Hill, trying to figure out, should we keep funding PBS and NPR? And this is NPR's CEO. I think if you got somebody leading an organization like that, yeah, you take them out. You take the funding out. We don't need to be funding things that don't have a reverence for the truth. Because it's weaponized against normal people. Normal people. Do you mean the left wing are not normal people? I mean, there's about 25% of the country who have been radicalized, have been brainwashed to believe things that simply are not true. I have empathy toward them. But yeah, something is off. And it's the fact that they've listened to NPR. People like this, they don't have a reverence for the truth. They have a reverence to get things done. AKA, we need to take their money. We need to extract their money through this big bloated government. And we need to send it through, I don't know, allegedly Act Blue or US Aid. And then we'll give it to an NGO. And then the NGO will pay this group. And then it'll give it back to the Democrat Party. And we will make conservatives and libertarians and MAGA members fund the things that are antithetical to everything that they believe in their core. That's what they're trying to get done. Power and control, manipulation, dominance. So, are we cool with that? Or is it time to move on from that? I say it's high time that we move on from that. All right, scrolling along. Yes, check out our show yesterday. There's Grok's attempt at putting me in a Cleveland Guardians jersey with whatever this bat is. I don't know why there's tape on the bat. I don't think that the Major League Baseball would allow electrical tape all over the bat. Almost looks like a cricket bat. I don't know what's going on. Grok is like talking to a drunk toddler sometimes. You ask it for a very specific image and it gives you anything but. All right, so here's a thought about this Signal psychodrama from Victor Davis Hanson. He says, am I in the right? Nope. Let me change the... Does Act Blue sponsor the Blue Man Group? Hey. Or Blue Chew? It'd be more entertaining. Yeah, that lady takes the fun out of funding. Another woke dope. Yeah, you know what? I did have a chance. Here, let me put my screen back up here. Well, I'll just go like this. There we go. I did get a chance to go to the Green Dragon Tavern in Boston. And that was pretty cool. It's allegedly where the Patriots met before they had the Boston Tea Party. Kind of one of the major things to kickstart the American Revolution. Kenneth saying, after visiting a Boston bar, I had to take a wicked pee again. A wicked pee-in. Wicked pee-in. Oh, I got to take a wicked pee-in. Wicked. I got to work with my Peter Griffin. Anyway, let's go back to the story. What if here, let me full screen it just so we can read it. Try that again. There we go. Good. Now we can read it. Okay. Victor Davis Hansen says about the passing Signal psychodrama. When we finally learn the full melodrama of the so-called Signal 1 to 2 day scandal of inviting a left-wing Trump-despising Atlantic editor Jeffrey Goldberg onto a supposedly secure conference list involving most of the top Trump security officials, lots of questions need asking and answering. Most importantly, who exactly had Goldberg's private number and ostensibly, in error, wink wink, could have possibly inserted it into the cleared list of participants in the discussions? Why Goldberg rather than some random person of some 345 million Americans? So why in the world would any top Trump officials or their staffers ever even have Goldberg's private contact information, given his quite public record of A, fabricating stories with unnamed sources, and B, suffering from a decade of chronic Trump derangement syndrome? Did Goldberg know the mechanisms that had prompted and continued his stealthy presence on the secure discussions? Let me read that again. Did Goldberg know the mechanisms that had prompted and continued his stealthy presence on the secure discussions? Why did Citizen Goldberg not simply come clean on day one that he realized he was mistakenly included in key national security conference communications to which he did not belong and thus should be obviously excluded immediately? Why stealthily listen in for 11 some days? Was the idea of informing his hosts of his own improper presence too old-fashioned morality? Did Goldberg's publicizing these discreet discussions really affect in any way at all the otherwise completely successful mission to neutralize years of appeased Houthi aggression and begin to end their veritable destruction of the Red Sea international maritime commerce? How did this blunder rank with prior diplomatic and military screw-ups? Did it rate with the indiscretion of Secretary of State Dean Acheson's January 1950 press club speech, de facto excluding South Korea from the American defense umbrella, an omission that may or may not have contributed to the June 1950 North Korean invasion of the South? Was it comparable to Ambassador to Iraq April Glaspie's assurance to Saddam Hussein, quote, "We have no opinion on your Arab-Arab conflicts, such as your dispute with Kuwait," end quote? A needless remark that may have mistakenly greenlighted his 1990 invasion of Kuwait. Was it comparable to Barack Obama's March 2012 hot mic quid pro quo assurance to Russian President Medvedev? Obama got caught in front of the world promising Putin that he would have flexibility on American Eastern European missile defenses if Putin gave him space during his last election. You protesteth too much about this Russia thing, Mr. Obama. And indeed, is it foreign? I'm sorry, man, I'm reading things wrong today. And indeed, is it forgotten that both kept their promises? Obama foolishly dismantled American-sponsored Eastern European plans for missile defense, and Putin stayed put for Obama, perhaps empowering Obama's successful election cycle, postponing his pre-planned invasions of Ukraine until 2014. Careerism at the expense of national security? Did it rank with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Mark Milley, stealthily contacting his Chinese communist counterpart, Chinese General Li Zuocheng, to warn him that he would likely pre-warn the People's Liberation Army leader if he, Milley, had self-diagnosed his commander-in-chief Donald Trump as supposedly dangerously likely to trigger an existential war? I think he said dangerously. I think what he meant to say is if Milley self-diagnosed his commander-in-chief Donald Trump as supposedly dangerous, which would be likely to trigger an existential war. I think he meant dangerous there. Why would Hillary Clinton weigh in given her illegal use of a private server to transmit classified State Department information and her subsequent destruction of subpoenaed communication devices? Why would the serial fabulist Susan Rice weigh in? Yeah, Susan Rice. Serial fabulist. Given the election year 2012, she flat out lied to the nation on 5 Sunday news shows, claiming preposterously that the deadly pre-planned terrorist attacks on the American consulate in Benghazi were actually unexpected, spontaneous demonstrations incited by anger over an anti-Muslim video. Ditto her fallacious Sergeant Bo Bergdahl honor narrative or her lie about the removal of Syrian weapons of mass destruction. Why would Leon Panetta weigh in when he was one of the supposed 51 intelligence authorities in 2020 who ridiculously claimed that Hunter Biden's FBI authenticated laptop had all the hallmarks of a Russian intelligence disinformation effort, a lie that was designed to arm Joe Biden before the last 2020 debate, and which might well have affected the 2020 election, for which Panetta has never apologized. So in the end, this was a blunder, but also what the left calls a teachable moment, in which all the future similar conferences should be either held in person or its participants triple checked on a secure line, and all Trump high appointees and their staffers should know enough to have nothing to do with those people who wake up each morning wishing to destroy them and go to bed each night lamenting that they have not done enough to advance that destruction. That is such a well-crafted message from Victor Davis Hanson. So, take it with a grain of salt. Don't get too worked up over it. A couple comments. Every adult with a school badge. Oh, okay. These are comments about this. I don't want to show you this beatdown video. Stop. Tom Hennessy reporting a white child was beaten unconscious and head stomped, which is attempted murder, by a black student at Harwood Junior High, a middle school, on Tuesday, March 25th. No arrests have been made by the city of Bedford, Texas. I'm not going to subject you to 44 seconds of this, but wait a minute.
Oh, shit!
How many times did you see the George Floyd event that was used because the two participants were the wrong race? They weren't exactly the same. So all the Democratic opportunists and race baiters used it to push a white shame campaign to sit down, shut up, and vote Democrat. That's what they did. No evidence that race had anything to do with it. It never stopped them. My instinct is to not show this video. I'm calculating, should I or should I not? But it's trending. Assault at Harwood Junior High under police review. Comment says, every adult with a school badge on that only used their pinky finger to stop him better be fired. These teachers are worthless. Put your drink down and get a kid out of harm's way. Libs of TikTok saying, you didn't hear about this story because it didn't fit the narrative. Oh boy, if that were a white human, you know what? Let's just watch it. Doggone it. I don't want to watch this.
Oh, shit!
Bro, why is he not tackling him? What is wrong with these people? Come on. And a stomp at the end, too. What are these teachers doing? Bro, tackle him. I'm sorry. Like, this is pissing me off. Holding your sippy cups? Come on, man. This fight's clearly over. There's nothing going on here. Tackle him. And that knocks him out. That's attempted murder right there. That right there, attempted murder, motherfucker. That's bullshit. The fight's over, you piece of shit. Right, Did you hear the thud that made? You can hear the sound. sorry I watched it, and I'm sorry I showed you. Mm. According to eyewitnesses, remember when Obama and the Democrats and ESPN and LeBron James and everybody else, remember the Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman story? Trayvon was not a little human. He was they showed you baby pictures to make you feel a certain kind of way. Eyewitness reports, as well as George Zimmerman's own testimony, was that he was jumped. The guy sprung from the bushes, jumped on him, and was beating on him in a ground and pound maneuver, cracking his head up against the concrete, which, if you crack the egg, you're done. You're toast. Brain bleeding, brain swelling. A ground and pound maneuver, and that was when George Zimmerman used his tool to defend himself and defend his life. Oh, what? I told Michelle this morning. If I had a son, he would look like Trayvon. What an asshole. In hockey fights, you can be on your skates and you're holding jerseys and you're punching and you're getting hit and you're punching and punching. But when somebody goes down on the ground, it's over. Fight's over. Then you pull them apart. Nope, you're on the ground. We're done. UFC, when someone gets knocked up, when they're down, when it's over, it's over. That's when the referee, I guess it's a referee. What are they called? I don't think it's referee. MMA referee? Person called a referee in MMA? Judge? Ump? Yeah, I'm guessing it's a referee. It is called a referee. All right. I was just didn't seem right. I don't watch a lot of MMA. But when you're on the ground, it's over. You're done. That kick is attempted murder. Okay. Okay. All right. I have to comment on this. 1. Fire or suspend these pathetic teachers who couldn't trouble themselves to set down their sippy cups to help the abused student. 2, that audible curb stomp to the skull must result in attempted murder charges. Fist fights are one thing. Head stomps are another. Sorry, guys. It's trending. And I'm getting really sick of people like Obama pushing that this country is, we're such an evil country. We're such a racist country. Oh, Brian, why are you still railing about Obama? He hasn't been in office for a while. He ran the last administration. Biden was a puppet. You all saw it. You all know it. His same cronies, their same ilk, their same agenda permeates the Democrat Party. And we have been fed 2 decades or more of, oh, white people are so bad. All they do is attack the black community. How many videos like this have you seen in the last couple decades? How many? And where are the nationwide riots allegedly funded by Act Blue or allegedly funded by US Aid to go burn down inner cities in response? I have so many thoughts on this. I'm going to move on. I'm sorry I watched that. I'm sorry I showed you guys, but it's trending. You know, I've seen a lot of things in my 14 years working with the New American Media that I wish I didn't see. I've seen a lot that I wish I didn't see. You know, I was also involved in a fight in high school. Bounced around, some pushing, bounced off of a locker, tumbled down onto the ground, couple punches thrown. Then it was done. I got away. I was like, I didn't even want it. I was stolen from. I didn't appreciate it. I repeatedly said, I'll take my stuff back now, please. And it was met with not the best response. And I made my point. I got away. I wasn't trying to put a kid in the hospital. I wasn't trying to take a life. I was just trying to prove a point. Don't punk me. We're not doing this. Come clean. We'll make this right and we can move along. And guess what? I got my stuff back. And that person is still a friend of mine. I texted with him the other day, actually. It's been several years. That was some bullshit. And this on the heels of a video I saw yesterday. Wasn't that another white kid getting his ass kicked from behind, an autistic white student by a black kid? I think I shared a story like that yesterday. Do you want to have the story? Do you really want to have an ongoing, in-depth conversation about race crime in America? Do you really want to do this? I think it's time. I'm not doing it today. Moving on. How do I recalibrate after that? That got me worked up. And I understand why someone could watch the George Floyd tape and get worked up over that. But did those same people see the beginning of the tape? Now look, I would have a different opinion. No, I wouldn't. Maybe I would. I would have a slightly different opinion. I think the curb stomp was there's a fight. So what? There's a fight. And come on, teachers, body check that kid. Launch into him, topple him off. Like, he wasn't, like, it was over. You call the fight. The hockey match was over. Like, that fight on the rink was over. They were on the ice. Break it up. Pathetic. If that kid that got curb stomped, Brian, there wasn't a curb there. It was a concrete head stomp. He got head stomped. Remember American History X? Where he puts him up against the curb. He says, bite the curb. And you hear the teeth. Then he stomps him and kills the guy. Oh. I'm going to call it a curb stomp. If that kid that got beat up was the aggressor, you know, I am usually a big fan of self-defense, like all the time. That would change my opinion of it. I think that curb stomp was unnecessary. That was, that's where the kid messed up the most. You wouldn't have even heard about this story if it was just, you know, another kid punching another kid, let alone a black kid punching a white kid. You wouldn't have heard the story. That curb stomp, oh, you done fucked up, kid. And you're probably going to get tried as an adult. You damn well better. If that were my kid that got curb stomped, but the people that got worked up about George Floyd did not see the whole video. You saw that clip. You saw that final clip You didn't see that the guy was, when he was confronted at the car window, he couldn't breathe then. He was panicking. He was overdosing then. He was having a heart attack. Whatever was occurring, he couldn't breathe at that point. And then he was taken out. He was arrested. And he was put into the back of a cop car where he was freaking out. I can't go back to jail, man. I can't breathe. I can't do it. And he was put in the back of the cop car. You would have never known that guy's story had they not shut the other fucking door of that cop car. If George Floyd was going to be healthy and he didn't succumb to some sort of health incident, he would have just been processed and booked, and you would have never heard of his story. But they didn't close the other door of that cop car, and America burned because of it. And the Democrats added gasoline to the fire, and they directed the rage. All to make Trump look racist, to make MAGA look bad, to make America look evil, to say we need a change. I still don't think that 81 million totally legitimate votes is a thing that occurred. Go to CISA.gov/rumor control for countervailing views on that. I still think it was a blowout, but nobody counted it that way, did they? No, they did not. But had the people who got so upset about George Floyd seen the beginning of that video, and you could clearly tell the dude was either overdosing or having a panic attack or a heart attack or some version of that. I don't know what to tell you. But yes, I'll say in this case, for ideological consistency, I'd like to see the beginning of the video. Were there beginning videos? Or is that where everybody took out their camera and started watching? Because if that kid was the aggressor, then, I would have a different opinion on it. And so all of us, I urge caution and calm with all of these things that boil your blood. You got to wait 72 hours. It's a 72-hour rule. We don't know all the information. But I do know that curb stomp, that needs to result in an attempted murder charge. How is the kid? Is he okay? Actually, let me ask Grok. Condition of the kid who got stomped in Texas school fight. Charges against the aggressor. "15 web pages populating. Try to get you an update here. Oh man, I didn't even want to play it. Grok is thinking. This is taking a long time. It's usually like instant. That's weird. Try it again. What is the city that was? Bedford, Texas. Condition of kid in Bedford, Texas school fight. Charges filed, ? Come on, Grok, what are you doing? I was just talking you up the other day about how you're such a good search engine. Where are we at? Come on. Hello? Is Grok down? Tell me again. Okay. Okay, well, it's not really giving me much information. Anyway, let's pray for that kid to get better. All right, here's the story that I put at the top of the stack for today. Linda McMahon. Let's check this out. Libs of TikTok reporting. Okay. Oh, hey, we got some people here in the chat room. Hey, David Bann, thanks for joining us. Good morning to you, good sir. Top of the morning to you, David. David, I would request that you start a Rumble account. Rumble is the new YouTube. I started mentioning this earlier, but I got sidetracked. Steven Crowder with Louder with Crowder. They're doing like a new network. They're not putting new live videos on YouTube anymore because they're dealing with the same shit that I'm dealing with. And now they have a network where they're going back to back to back. They're taking Dan Bongino's audience, teaming up with them and Tim Pool and Russell Brand and The Quartering and others. I actually sent them their CEO an email seeing if I could join the network. Like, I would love to have a bigger audience, but they're going to broadcast exclusively their live shows to Rumble. But yeah, I haven't seen you in a while, David. You know why? Because I've been banned by YouTube. So I just think as the culture shifts, Google YouTube is not going to stop being a deep state mechanism for censorship and mind control. Trust me, Elon is using Grok and X to shape narratives, and really Twitter with Elon X. Elon is essentially a newspaper publisher. Like, he collates important stories and then magnifies them out. It's like the anti-Google, the anti-YouTube. But for the videos exclusively, like that type of stuff, we started a Rumble account. We are actually monetized on Rumble. So if you let an advertisement play, it's like tossing a penny into our wishing well. You know, hundreds of those add up. If you get 500 of those, that pays the electricity that we consume each day. About $5 in electrical cost. 500 advertisements watched, a couple of pennies in the wishing well, it all adds up. So, David, I missed you. And the reason I missed you is because Google YouTube hates me. So, anyway, good morning to you. Who is this over here on Kick? What's your name? Yisro LM90. Not yet affiliated and verified. I don't know what that means. I just started the account. Share my stream to a Kick community to gain 1,000 active audience. Well, how does that work? I'm open. Tell me more. Wait, am I on Kick? Here, let me respond to that guy. How do I don't see a message. Tell me more about the Kick network thing. Thanks. All right, moving on. Another day and still no major arraignments. Yeah, I know. Okay, so our Kick comments are coming through. That's good. All right, let's get to Linda McMahon. Libs of TikTok reporting, just in, Secretary of Education Linda McMahon sent a letter to Governor Gavin Newsom demanding that he inform California schools to comply with federal law and keep males out of female private spaces in sports. Failure to do so will result in the loss of funding. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You shouldn't curb stomp somebody because they want to dress like a woman. You shouldn't curb stomp somebody because they want to dress like a man. You shouldn't curb stomp somebody because they want to say that they are something that they're not. There should be a level of respect from people suffering from gender dysphoria. Compassion, and a plea to help get some understanding. Like, you can be a male who enjoys presenting as a female. That doesn't mean they are female. It means you are a male who enjoys, prefers presenting as a female. That doesn't make you female. That does not grant you access to bathrooms, locker rooms, and you don't get to compete against girls in sports. I cannot believe that we have to say this stuff out loud. But the Obama doctrine, once again, rears its wonderful head. Wonderful head. You know, this whole trans thing, we used to, I mean, go back. Mork and Mindy, was that one? No, it was the other one. Bosom Buddies. Oh, that was Tom Hanks, wasn't it? Mrs. Doubtfire, Klinger from MASH, Rocky Horror Picture Show. There's nothing new about men feminizing themselves. It's something that some people choose to do. Not my particular cup of tea, but more power to you, I suppose. But the push to try to convince people and force people to accept a reality which is not reality is a clear marker of the Obama doctrine. There are so many rumors that Michelle Obama is a man. Michael. Those stories are everywhere. Do I have proof to say that that is a thing? I can't say that. I can't tell you where Obama was born. I can tell you a certificate of live birth was shown, and I've seen other people take what was shown, analyze it, and say that it wasn't accurate, that it was doctored, and that there was one guy who actually saw the real birth certificate because they're not public record in Hawaii, but then that guy died in a mysterious plane crash. What, didn't the plane go down in the water and everybody survived at that except this guy? And it was reported that it looked like he was dragged underneath, similar to how the Obama chef was removed or accidentally drowned in a couple inches of water. I'm not saying where there's smoke, there's fire. I'm saying that the story's out there. And Joan Rivers said, oh, everybody knows Michelle's a tranny. What? Michelle's a man. Everybody knows. And it's okay. Everybody knows. She was dead within, I believe, 2 months. There's a lot of smoke around it. Now, regardless if any of these things are connected or valid, accurate or not, what have you, the push from ESPN to give you Bruce Jenner. Look, he's stunning and brave. It's now Caitlyn Jenner, and you must call her a she, or else you're dead naming. Remember the look on Brett Favre's face? At the ESPYs, like, huh? What? What does this have to do with, why are we doing this? The Obama doctrine. It checks out. It checks out that they were pushing this. You can't just say 1 + 1 = 3. You must believe it to be so. That's straight out of George Orwell's 1984. So it's time to just fix the things that once went wrong, says Scott Bakula. Was it Dr. Sam Beckett on Quantum Leap? There shouldn't be violence from people against men who want to feminize themselves and act accordingly. But you should be hiking that dress up and pissing into a urinal instead of creeping on girls in the ladies' room. That's it. That's the starting point. Stay out of the locker room. Stay out of the sports competitions. No fighting them in MMA. Don't be a mediocre male. If your chromosomes include a Y in sports, you must compete with guys. Compassion. Some people just enjoy it, and that's fine. And some people do have a serious mental condition known as gender dysphoria. Because as President Trump said, you can have as many surgeries as you want, but you cannot become something that you're not. Michelle Obama's book was called Becoming. You cannot become a woman. You can become the most feminized version of a man. I feel like I'm inside of a cuckoo clock. I've bartended at places that have drag shows. I don't care. I've been to drag shows. It's not my cup of tea. It makes me a little uncomfortable. When I see boobies and legs, I only want to see that on ladies. And if I'm looking at something that I think is a lady and I'm being tricked, I'm not a fan of that. I don't like that. It makes me uncomfortable. If I wanted to see a man in his parts, I would choose to go that direction, and I don't. So you got to separate what the violence is. You hear about, oh, trans violence. Okay, what is it? Talking about just random people, like, I don't know, finding some lady boy and abusing them, or you're out at a nightclub and you think that you're talking to a lady and you decide to go somewhere and participate in activities consensual, but you were tricked. You were not told that I'm not really this, I'm actually that. Reach down and find out. You don't want to be tricking people into that type of activity. I don't justify violence, but I consider it to be a violent act if a man tricks another man into making them believe that they're a woman. I think that's a violent act. So this whole topic has gone completely off the rails. It's fine to be who you are, and it's fine to present how you want to present, but get out of the locker rooms. Get out of the sports competition against ladies. Don't be a mediocre male. Don't be a mediocre male. So yeah, Linda McMahon, Gavin Newsom, ball in your court, Gavin. What are you going to do? This report here, Peter St. Ange, PhD. Why do boomers own everything? By their 30s, boomers owned 20% of national wealth. For Gen X, it was 8.5%. For millennials, it's not even 3%. The federal government and the Federal Reserve broke the young. So go ahead and check out that video if you wish. It's a couple minutes long. So here's the thing about Catherine Maher. You remember her? The leftist NPR CEO. Did you know that allegedly she is currently the chair of the board of, wait for it, Signal? Catherine Maher is the former CEO and executive director of the Wikimedia Foundation, responsible for Wikipedia. She is currently a non-resident senior fellow at the Atlantic Council, where her work focuses on the intersection of technology, human rights, and democracy. As of June 2023, and that's maybe the latest update we have, maybe not. Let's keep looking into it. The Signal Foundation Board of Directors has 5 members. Jay Sullivan. Catherine Maher. So what was this Signal chat freak out about? Let's dig into this a little bit. It feels like it was a setup. Also, nothing bad happened because of it. So let's review our policies. No big deal. Moving on. All right, another case of FAFO. You remember seeing this person? Yeah, I cannot tell from this image. I cannot tell from this image if this is a guy or a girl. I don't know. Okay, so Lakewood Police Department is saying that they have identified a 29-year-old Shaden Hessner. After reading the first name, I don't know what name Shaden is. Is that a guy's name or a girl's name? So 29-year-old Shaden Hessner as the suspect in this case. They're saying she has been arrested and cited for criminal trespassing. I believe I see an Adam's apple. I think that's exclusively for men, hence the Adam part, Adam and Eve. Pronouns are now in jail. criminal tampering. I don't know what, like, why isn't, like, there's destruction of property and vandalism, and really it's also domestic terrorism. The Democrats, when they don't get the way, they get violent. And that's the most dangerous type of person to deal with. So I don't know why it's criminal tampering and not the highest charges. So we'll follow this story. Insurrection Barbie here talking about the judges getting in the way of the Trump administration. Insurrection Barbie says, do you understand that these judges are issuing injunctions on purpose because they know that if they slow down the president in the first 6 months of his administration, that will set the tone for the remaining part of it. They're issuing injunctions before they have even heard the merits of the case. An injunction should only ever be considered if monetary damages will not make a plaintiff whole. There are so few instances where monetary damages will not make a plaintiff whole. Oop, there we go. These judges know that an injunction is considered an extraordinary remedy, one that should be used in only very specific cases. It's not to be used to stop the policy of a duly elected president because your team lost. Once again, these Democrats, deep staters, they're acting like petulant children. I'm taking my ball and going home. Elon's helping bad orange man. I gotta destroy everything that Elon touches. Grow up. If we don't want the trans agenda being pushed by Bud Light, by the way, I did make the interesting distinction, yesterday, 2 days ago. Bud Light was marketing that product to 21-year-olds. These are adults. Okay. You can still not be a fan of pushing this agenda on everybody and trying to cram the issue down everybody's throats. Pun intended. You can still not be in favor of it. I think the big thing is the indoctrination of children. Let's not proselytize. Let's not confuse children. And let's not sexualize children. It's not age appropriate. Leave the kids alone. Don't creep on the kids. It's creepy. Leave them alone. But the Bud Light thing was like, look, it's 21-year-olds. If you don't want to do something, don't do it. Don't buy the product. And they have every right to, what do? They made a can, put the person on there, that Dylan person. I'm supposed to call that person a he or a she. I'll just call him a person. Called him because his name's Dylan. He's a guy. Yeah, but that's dead naming. It's a she. It's a he who enjoys, prefers, or simply must present himself as female. It's still a he. Not wishing any particular ill will to Dylan Mulvaney. I just don't want to amplify the message. It's not my cup of tea. But if conservatives don't like what Netflix is pushing, let me switch gears off Dylan Mulvaney for a second. If conservatives don't like what Netflix is pushing, they discontinue their account. These people terrorize you. They shoot you. They firebomb you. They key your car. They try to ruin you. They try to throw you in jail on trumped up charges on Trump. They try to shoot you and explode you on on CNN in Butler, Pennsylvania. This deep state Democrat domestic terrorism has to stop. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, come on. Dan Bongino, let's go. Anyway. Yeah, it's not using these judges to issue injunctions shouldn't be used to stop the policy of a duly elected president just because your team lost. That's what triggered that thought. These judges also know that it could take months, if not years, to get a case up before the Supreme Court. So if you think that what this does is only hurt Donald Trump, you don't understand that the people they're really hurting are the voters who think they can vote for their choice of president and not be overridden by a bunch of unelected ideologues. These courts are holding President Trump's agenda hostage because their team lost. And if this is the freaking precedent they want to set, Republican judges better be ready to do the same thing if Democrats should ever win again. I say that knowing damn well that Republican judges will never issue blanket injunctions to stop the other side. And that is a difference. And that is why it feels like we are always losing, because we are never playing by the same rules. Well said. We covered this story yesterday. 4 Texas deputies from the same Texas sheriff's office are gone now in the past 6 weeks. All of them X'd out. These 2 are lookers, by the way. Clint Russell, who I had on the show last summer, scroll back and check that one out. He asked Grok the odds of 4 random people all committing suicide within a 6-week period are approximately 1 in 14.9 quintillion. That's 1 in 1.49 times x to the 19th. So yeah, they're being executed. Something is off. And remember all those Capitol Hill officers that all allegedly did the same thing. I didn't buy that for a second. I didn't buy it for a second. I think they were places. I think they knew things. I think maybe they did things. Let's keep following this story. It's weird stuff happening in Texas right now. Let's take a listen to this about Doge.
And they told me something about a mine that was dealt with retirement. And they said they needed somebody to help out to fix retirement in the government. I love the challenge, so I jumped on board. And it turns out there is actually a mine in Pennsylvania that houses every paper document for the retirement process in the government. Now picture this. This giant cave has 22,000 filing cabinets stacked 10 high to house 400 million pieces of paper. It's a process that started in the 1950s and largely hasn't changed in the last 70 years. And so as we dug into it, we found retirement cases that had so much paper, they had to fit it on a shipping pallet. So the process takes many months, and we're going to make it just many days.
Will it be digitized, or how?
Absolutely. So this will be an online digital process that will take just a few days at most. And I really think, it's an injustice to civil servants who are subjected to these processes that are older than the age of half the people watching your show tonight. So we really believe that the government can have an Apple Store-like experience, beautifully designed, great user experience, modern systems.
Just shared a story. 1,400 people have the job of handing out cell phones and laptops. Why isn't that one person? It's just madness. Or mailing them or whatever it is. Babylon Bee reporting political neutrality of PBS is being questioned after new footage has arisen of Elmo keying a Cybertruck. That's funny. Here's Carolyn Levitt talking about what Elon is going to do to figure out what happened with this Signal app.
Previous question from Jennifer. As for your original question about who's looking into the messaging thread, the National Security Council, the White House counsel's office, and also, yes, Elon Musk's team. Elon Musk has offered to put his technical experts on this to figure out how this number was inadvertently added to the chat. Again, to take responsibility and ensure this can never happen again.
I have 2 questions. One.
Previous question from Jennifer. As for your original question about who's looking into the messaging thread, the National Security Council, the White House counsel's office, and also, yes, Elon Musk's team. Elon Musk has offered to put his technical experts on this to figure.
We're going to improve the system now. There should be a double verification. All right, there was a glitch. There was a hiccup. Let's make it better. It'll get improved now. Lila Rose here says that Idaho's governor just signed a law requiring students to learn about human development in the womb using resources like Live Action's Baby Olivia video. North Dakota and Tennessee already have similar laws. 19 others are considering this year. Big win for truth, science, and life.
She begins to implant in the uterus.
If I play this, will I get flagged? I guess maybe I won't post it. Yeah, it's just, it's just a clump of cells. I don't know. I don't think so. Party of science. Trying to tell you a man can become a woman. You can't. Trying to say it's just a clump of cells. It's just a clump of cells. I mean, come on now. All right, so that's interesting. So what is this? Cat turd. Showing this judge and saying that Elizabeth Liddy Manson is the founder of an abortion NGO funded indirectly by U.S. aid and Soros, allegedly. Daughter Catherine Boseberg. Is it Boseberg or Boseberg? I saw it as Boseberg. Now I'm seeing it spelled differently. Works for a 501c3 allegedly called Partners for Justice, giving criminal, illegal aliens, and gang members legal advice. This is a sketchy looking thing. I'm not going to fully trust this, but we've heard all these reports that the judge has connections everywhere. Let's look into it. He should have to recuse himself. You can't be impartial. And does this guy really not have any legal experience? Was he just appointed as a political ideologue? Let's look into it. I mean, if you're this connected to the air quote, the opposition, you can't be a judge. You have to recuse yourself on these political cases. You just have to. All right. Wall Street Apes reporting. Well, let's just listen to this clip about the Smith-Mundt Act. I've been calling about this for a while.
So in 2013, it was legalized in the United States to propagandize its citizens. What? Like, that's some scary third world stuff going on. That's the kind of stuff that people use to topple governments, to take away freedoms.
Yes, you heard that right. Almost a decade ago, propaganda was legalized in the United States with the passage of the Smith-Mundt Modernization.
By the way, hear that generic nothing music in the back? I bet you YouTube's going to flag it for something nobody's ever heard of, so that they can limit the distribution on our show. Which is why I'm asking you to start a Rumble account and follow us there. Because A, we're monetized. We get a penny when you watch the show if you let an ad play. And B, they're not going to censor our content like YouTube does. But that's the trick they do. If they don't like the content, they'll say, oh, there's a copyright there. We've limited the distribution of your video. Oh, you have? Okay. Oh, I just clicked on the doggone it.
Never heard of. The Smith-Mundt Act, which was legalized. Yes, you heard that right. Almost a decade ago, propaganda was legalized in the United States with the passage of the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, which you've probably never heard of. The Smith-Mundt Modernization Act was buried in the 2012 National Defense Authorization Act for a good reason, because it repealed the 1948 Smith-Mundt Act, which authorized the State Department and the mainstream media to engage in propagandizing foreign countries, but it prohibited releasing that same propaganda in America for public consumption. This prohibition was lifted when the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act was signed into law by Obama.
Very simply, Obama gave it a reboot in 2012. So, no matter how outrageous the propaganda may be, it's completely legal.
Propaganda, in other words, a false narrative for whatever specific purpose, is now much, much easier to perpetrate on the people.
Due to the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, which went into effect on July the 2nd of 2013, scripted and orchestrated propaganda can now be presented to the American public as factual news.
And that's a problem. And it has been a problem. And it's also when you saw CNN and MSNBC go completely bonkers. When they went completely ideologue, when they went completely batshit crazy, it was like an extension of the weaponized government agencies under the direction of Barack Hussein Obama, who some have called a Manchurian candidate, installed to take this and to dismantle this country. Remember this video? Look at me. I'm super entitled and wealthy, and I'm going to come give you a hard time. Yeah. My idiot box told me that Tesla's bad. So yeah. There you go. I scuffed your car. Here, take that, meanie. Scuff. So the Karen who was seen keying a Tesla in Washington has been identified as 55-year-old millionaire Camelia Ensler, according to the Daily Mail. In footage obtained by Co Show, Ensler was seen getting out of her car before slashing the Tesla. Ensler is married to lead DocuSign engineer Jeff Ensler. The couple also owns fitness company iPeak Fitness, according to public records. The couple lives in a $1.5 million home in Seattle. Ensler has now been smacked with charges of malicious mischief in the 3rd degree. Yeah, you're malicious, you weirdo. Grow up. Grow up. The punishment for malicious intent in the 3rd degree is up to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. Good times, Camelia. And by the way, here's a nice reminder of what the Democrats were doing to incite violent insurgency during the George Floyd Summer of Love that I mentioned earlier in today's broadcast. By the way, hit like, hit subscribe, however you're watching today's episode of the Agree to Disagree show here on the New American Media. Is that Ayanna Pressley up top? There needs to be unrest in the streets, she says. Kamala says protesters should not let up. By the way, double check these quotes. Once again, I believe I watched these in real time, but it's been 5 years. If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and create a crowd and you push back on them and you tell them they are not welcome anymore anywhere. Yeah, that's Maxine Waters. I do remember that. A gasoline station. A gas station? Who calls it a gasoline station? Nobody. I like that they've been identified as dramacrats. These are just drama students. They're actors. They're bad actors too. And once you see it that way, you can't unsee it. Nancy Pelosi saying, I just don't know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be. Hee hee. All right. Let's go back. Hey, to anybody that says all I do is talk trash about Democrats, and I always give Republicans a pass. No, I don't. Let's check out this story.
We begin with breaking news. Former North Dakota Senator Ray Holmberg has just been sentenced to 10 years in prison. The sentencing hearing started at 9:30 this morning, and a judge just ruled about 30 minutes ago. Valley News Team's Bobby Fallett has been in the courtroom all day. He joins us live with the details. Bobby.
Yeah, hey, Courtney, we just got out of this courtroom about a half an hour ago. Like you said, we started at 9:30. We weren't done till about 4:30, and that is when the judge gave down that sentence like you asked for. Now, both the prosecution and the defense, they were asking for somewhere between a 37 to 46 a month sentence. The judge ruling that some of his quotes that saying that the 37 to 46 months was too difficult to understand, and that the crimes that were being committed were far worse than child porn, that they were comparing this case to some of those. So very kind of shocking when it came down. That said that, the sentence should be vary from anywhere from 97 to 121 months. 121 months was the sentence that the judge handed down. He'll have 10 years and 1 month, and then 10 years of supervised probation. Now the judge did.
Former Republican State Senator Ray Holmberg, 10 years, traveling to Europe over a dozen times to abuse young boys. I wonder, is that he allegedly met up with the boys who posed as masseuses at brothels. Oh, geez. The pervert also allegedly would abuse his position in politics in exchange for sexual favors. He brought a University of North Dakota student to the school's president's suite for hockey games with the intention of engaging in sex. Also accused of posing as a teen boy in 2012 in an online circumcision chat room to get pictures of children, including a 16-year-old Canadian boy. A boy who later took his own life. Gross. He served 45 years in the North Dakota Senate and didn't resign until 22. Oh, man. That is awful. These gross, gross, gross people. All right, I'm not sure. Todd Starnes. Hang on, we need to vote. All right. Actually, let me close this and start this again. Todd Starnes chiming in here. There we go. Back to it. This doesn't reach a level of national news because the child who was nearly beaten to death is white, and the media is not allowed to talk about the epidemic of black on white violence in this nation. Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. All right, so I put this in the title. I'm excited about this. If there was a Zelda movie, I'm unaware of it existing. But this live-action Legend of Zelda movie will release on March 26th, 2027 in theaters. Live action. Are you guys gamers? I loved some of these Zelda games. And then occasionally they're so difficult to play. It's like I don't even know what to do with them, and I sort of lose interest in it. I do recall like using Nintendo Power, needing like a cheat sheet or a cheat book to kind of understand how to get all the things. It's like, I don't know, how do I swim behind the thing to get my sword needs to level up. I need to go from the light world to the dark world. I can't get to that place. I know I need to set a bomb there, but I don't know how to get to it. How do I blow a crack in the side of the castle to go in and get the treasure chest that has the medallion? Some of it's just, I don't know. I don't know how you intuitively find these things out. But I love Zelda. And really the counterbalance to the laziness of the educators. I'm sorry, not educators, of the entertainers who are putting out Snow White and just giving you rehashes of existing movies. Do some new content. So I'm excited for this. I want some fresh stories. Like, don't keep telling me the same story, and don't change existing stories. Just let the existing story be. Why do you have to keep changing ones and replacing characters? I don't like it. All right, here is a excellent video about why Fauci should not be let off the hook, and he has to be held accountable for what he did. I hold him personally responsible for COVID.
If it may have been a lab, may have been nature, we're supposed to look forward, then why did Dr. Fauci work so hard for just one of those theories?
What do you say to that? I'm almost have to laugh at that, Neil. I mean, that's totally bizarre. First of all, I wasn't leaning totally strongly one way or the other. Flashback.
What I do feel strongly about is that this was a spillover from an animal species to a human. Strongly suggesting that, in fact, it was a natural occurrence. Very strongly. Strongly indicating that it was a natural spillover. Strongly point.
They're gonna claim that techno music, and God, I hate YouTube so much. I'm listening to the compilation video of Fauci being busted lying to us from YouTube, who censored us if we told the truth because they were pushing an agenda. That's what happened. Why my account got a strike. I went through and I appealed about 7 or 15 copyright strikes, and I'm like, I have fair use authorization to cover stories in the news. This is the news. In the news now, this is what's being reported, and I'm showing it, and I'm providing original commentary about it. That's fair use. There's a video that has irrelevant background music. Ding, copyright. Ding, copyright. We're going to restrict your content. No, I have fair use for this. I'm not airing a song as a part of my show that I shouldn't be using. This is content that we are discussing. This is the global town square. It doesn't have the same impact for me to mute this and read the word strongly. I want to hear it in his words. Hence the compilation video. And YouTube, Google hides behind that fact, and they will try to ding my account. I appealed 10 or 15, and these places didn't get back. They didn't challenge it. So the claim was lifted. Nobody's out there seriously saying, oh, you can't play that video because this random ass generic techno music was playing in the background. It's not even like an Avicii song or something. It's just generic ass techno crap. So now I'm at the point I have to figure out 38 seconds in. Do I mute this and read the words? But I feel it's important for you to hear these people like Fauci in their own words. That's newsworthy, and that's covered under fair use. Fuck it. I'm playing it.
Points to this being a natural occurrence. Pointing much more strongly, pretty strong, towards a natural occurrence. Very, very strongly. Strongly favors a natural occurrence.
I wasn't leaning totally strongly one way or the other.
It's very, very strongly leaning towards this could not have been artificially or deliberately manipulated.
You lied and lied.
There's a distinct anti-science flavor to this.
Did you catch that? That's a brilliant video by Orf.
If it may have been a lab, may have been nature, we're supposed to look forward, then why did...
And it's relevant that I'm allowed to discuss a video that Orf made. Now, if Orf is using a sample of music he doesn't have rights to, and this isn't part of the generic soundboard of, here's a list of 50 things you can play in the background of your video for free, like, take that up with Orf. Or how about this? Let it play. Show at the bottom of the screen, slap a tag and go, hey, it was DJ XYZ who had a song. Here's the link to buy it. Because usually it's like, oh, these copyright claims don't impact your channel and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right, good. Yeah, why would they? If you're trying to protect your artist or get your artist more recognition, then just advertise it. Slap a little advertisement when the music plays. Then someone goes, oh, I really dig that song. You know, I'll click it and buy it. I've never heard of DJ XYZ. Come on, modernize your processes. Because this Orf video is brilliant. It's calling out a known liar who deceived us in the most unforgivable ways possible, delaying care, falsifying efficacy, and demonizing potentially therapeutic options that could have saved my brother's life. Everything Fauci was up to resulted in loss of life. But Google, YouTube, they loved defending Fauci, silencing me. Oh, that lab leak theory. By the way, it was a lab release theory. I'm not acquiescing that it was accidental in any regard. It is definitely possible that was an intentional release. Oh, I'd be silenced. That video would be removed from YouTube for dangerous misinformation. According to what? That's why they took down my USAID video. Misinformation, or what the hell did they call it? They called it community guidelines. But they didn't tell me what was said. They didn't identify the problem. Oh, it's a community guidelines strike. Review content here. You click it. It just says your appeal's rejected. What timestamp? What was said? Oh, no, they deleted the video. They can't even reference it. What are you doing, YouTube? What are you doing, Google? And that's why that's why we're on Rumble, and we're encouraging you to watch Rumble. The greatest Doge ad you'll ever see, according to Geiger Capital. Jon Stewart finds out how the Biden administration spent $42 billion to expand broadband to more Americans. And he connected 0 homes in 4 years. Elon responds, this shows why a regulatory overhaul is necessary. The burden of mountains of regulations is why the high-speed rail can't get down in California, and the bridge that the ship hit still hasn't been fixed. It's madness. It's a 5-minute clip. I'm not going to play it, but go watch it. Britt Hume says, when you read or hear about NPR chief Catherine Marr being grilled about the hard left views as expressed on Twitter in 2020, remember this. It was 3 years after those tweets that she was made head of NPR. Keep that in mind. Elon says when they attack, well it's a short clip. I'll just I'll let the clip I'll let it speak for itself. Well, if it wasn't on mute, there we go. Try it again.
When they attack Doge, they never attack any of the specifics. So they'll say what we're doing is somehow unconstitutional or illegal or whatever. We're like, well, which line of the cost savings do you disagree with? And they can't point to any. And we list them all on Doge.gov and the Doge handle on X. And you'll see just outrageous things, one outrageous thing after another. When they attack Doge, they never attack any of the specifics. So they'll say what we're doing is somehow.
Yep. It's all kind of weird. Wall Street Mav says congratulations to MSNBC, the first network with more employees than viewers. Don't flag our account for dangerous misinformation. It's called a joke. And by the way, let's find out how many viewers and let's find out how many employees actually. A BBC presenter just asked, why does U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance hate us so much? He doesn't. But why should he help a UK Labour administration that sent 100 Labour activists to help Kamala Harris's failed bid to beat Vance and his boss, Donald Trump? It's a fair question. Very fair question. Elon here talking with Rogan about the media.
The whole thing's very crazy. I mean, the media is incredibly partisan. I mean, they're not. They take almost all the media is, left shifted.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird if you talk to somebody who gets all their information from like what I call legacy media. They're living in a different world.
Yeah.
Than if they say are listening to your podcast or getting news from X or just if it's kind of wild. Like
it is very wild.
Like you talked, it's like they're living in an alternate reality.
Oh, there's a lot of people that I talk to that I have to go, where did you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like the Associated Press, which I call Associated Propaganda, the AP. They ran a.
Did he give the Associated Press a yellow check mark for yellow journalism? He did that with somebody. And I think some of the fake news companies should earn that, honestly.
International news story saying that Doge fired air traffic controllers. But we didn't fire any air traffic controllers at all. In fact, we're trying to hire air traffic controllers, not fire them.
Yeah, I saw that. You made a tweet about it, right?
It's wild. Tim Walls doing what this is the Obama doctrine as well. Get old white people to bash white people. It's part of the Democrat Party agenda. It's sick. They did it to Biden all the time.
Well, Sammy, thank you. And to all the young people who are here, I just pause for a moment and look around and look at, I'm especially talking about these old white guys who seem to disappoint us on a regular basis in this country.
It's so gross that they have to belittle themselves as white people. I'm so sick of it. It's what the Democrat is talking to a group of mostly white people, but it's self-loathing, self-flagellation. What was that? Dan Brown, another Tom Hanks movie, by the way. He's self-flagellating, not Tom Hanks, but the other character, the main protagonist or antagonist in the Da Vinci Code. He's like abusing himself. He's like whipping himself with chain, like with metal and stuff. It's like you have to self-flagellate. and abuse yourself as penance for the crime of existing as a man, as a straight man, as a white man. Well, I don't know about Tim Walz, if he checks all those boxes or not. Did you see this story? Once again, it's another video that I'm wondering if I should share, but I will. Dapper detective here says, breaking, Columbus police body camera video shows the moment a SWAT officer shoots Darnell Jones, wanted for the rape and murder of his 13-year-old daughter, Kimani Lateague. After Jones did that, he cut her hands off. What? So this officer shows up to get this monster seconds to act. You can hate police, you can hate mistakes they make, you can hate malicious things that they do. You have milliseconds to act. I mean, immediate.
Come here, man.
Don't do it.
What's your name?
Just kill me.
Dude, show me your fucking hands right now.
Me, bro.
Pull your fucking hand out of your. I swear to.
Oh, you know what? I didn't catch that the first time I watch it. He's asking him to kill him. That's what he's saying there. Murder by cop.
Come here, man.
Don't do it.
What's your name?
Just kill me.
Dude, show me your fucking hands right now.
Me, bro.
Pull your fucking hand out of your. I swear to God, pull your.
He was definitely reaching in there for it.
Shots fired. Shots fired. Dennis in a second. Get medic,
don't fucking move.
Don't move.
Anyway, monster. If he did what they're saying he did, and he looked weird and he was saying, "Kill me, just kill me." I mean, I think he survived. Yeah, and I got people that are against the death penalty that say, just say life in prison is more of a penalty than an elimination. I get it. I understand both sides of the argument. I understand pro-life. I understand pro-choice. I understand both sides of it. I get it. Anyway. So Governor Greg Abbott put this out here. I need to add this to my resume. I need this outfit. They see me rolling. He's having fun with it now because they're messing with him and calling him Governor Hot Wheels. So they made him look like what's the character's name? Magneto? Was it? I gotta ask Grok. Comic character in wheelchair? Question mark. Marvel's X-Men, Charles Xavier. I called him Magneto. Professor Charles Xavier. And then Barbara Gordon, a.k.a. Oracle from DC Comics. And originally, Batgirl was paralyzed from the waist down after being shot by the Joker in The Killing Joke, 1988. Reinvented herself as Oracle, a tech genius and an info broker for Batman and the Birds of Prey. Her wheelchair became a symbol of resilience, not limitation. Okay. Professor Charles Xavier. Professor X. I think that's what they're going for there. And just so we have the right information about this, war plans and attack plans and the word games that this whole signal thing is about, I'm ready to move past the story. It's a big nothing burger, no harm, no foul, and it's a big chance to take a look at all of our policies and ensure that this doesn't happen again. It's a teachable moment. It would be a tragedy. Travesty or a tragedy. Tragedy? If it had gone all Benghazi or all Afghanistan on us.
If I can ask you very quickly about the information we've seen, just to set the predicate to all this, has the president been briefed and physically seen he's seen all the details of the chat as printed by the Atlantic?
I just spoke to the president about it, yes.
Then let me ask you, if I can, very quickly. In the chat, Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, details F-18s, Tomahawks, so some of the weapons that were used. He details the timing involved for this, all of which occurred 31 minutes before, as he says, F-18s would launch. The DoD manual details classified information as significant military plans, saying that is secret, that's classified. So what about, there are no methods, there are no sources, but that's not what determines what's classified. So what is it about what Pete Hegseth wrote that makes you say this is not classified?
Well, it's not just me saying that, Peter. It's the Secretary of Defense himself who is saying this as well. And he put out a very strong statement earlier today listing all of the things that were not included in that message that he sent to the group. And again, this message, there was no classified information transmitted. There were no war plans discussed. Why did the Atlantic downgrade their allegation about war plans to attack plans? They're now playing word games because they know this was sensationalist spin from a reporter who is well known for doing this. We have said all along no war plans were discussed, no classified material was sent. You have the Secretary of Defense saying that. You have the Director of the CIA, the Director of National Intelligence, the FBI Director, all testifying to that under oath, and they should be trusted with that.
To be clear, Americans can make the decision for themselves, but whether is the
Sure.
you said it's not war plans. Would you characterize these as military plans, military operation plans?
I would characterize this messaging thread as a policy discussion, a sensitive policy discussion, surely, amongst high-level cabinet officials and senior staff. And I'm so glad, Peter, that you said the American public can decide for themselves, because I think the American public should decide for themselves based on the outcome of this operation. And what happened in this operation? Terrorists that were allowed to run wild by the Biden administration were killed because of the direction and the determination of this president and his team. And this message also shows, this messaging thread also proved that President Trump has an incredibly dynamic team who is working incredibly hard, flying all over the world to secure world peace and to fix up the foreign policy crises that the previous administration left for this team to inherit.
That's well said. Gunther Eagleman says Congress has been in session only 4 days of the last 3 weeks, while activist judges run rogue and spending is out of control. Tommy Laren says everyone who baselessly hates Elon should watch this clip and the extended Doge panel. Talking about what they're doing. I mean, this is exactly what we want. We are so fortunate to finally get some action on stopping. It's one thing if we're cutting a whole bunch of useful services and we have great financial health and wealth. We're $36 trillion in debt. It's an unsurvivable amount of debt that these idiots have placed us under. We're fixing it now. That needs to be applauded, not marauded. Adam Carolla says too many Teslas are being needlessly keyed. It's time to have a real conversation about key control. That shows you how stupid the gun control argument is. Use that one. I try to share good jokes and good opinions because if you can take some of these ideas to your dumb conversations with dumb people in your life, maybe that's how we win the culture war, one perspective at a time. We replied, all we're asking for is for some common sense key control. Inaction equals action. Eric Abenati here. Well, let's just listen.
And I want to talk specifically about why I think the next 6-ish weeks, 2 months, are going to be really bad for Joe Biden. So there's a book coming out on Tuesday called Fight, which is by Amy Parnes and John Allen, two reporters who have done a book about each of the last few presidential elections. And my sense is that book is going to have a lot in it that is not great for Biden. I mentioned a little bit that has come out about the book. The Guardian reported that as far back as 2023, there were conversations and meetings in the White House about whether Biden should get out. A Kamala Harris aide was tasked with sort of putting together a plan of what would they do if Biden died in office. And then on May 20th, there's a book called Original Sin by Jake Tapper, CNN, and Alex Thompson, who's at Axios, that is aimed at really providing an autopsy of how Biden got to the point he got, with given his age and obvious erosion of his capabilities. Those two books, I feel like, are going to shed a lot of light.
By the way, 81 million totally legitimate votes in 2020. The most popular president of all time, says CISA.gov/rumor control. Countervailing views. Yeah. Campaigning from his basement. You're right.
On how big this cover-up really was. Again, I've said repeatedly, I think this is a big scandal. The fact that the Biden inner circle clearly knew he was diminished. They kept him from the media. They insisted to the media he was fine, even while knowing he was not. What happened at the debate. And I think that the two books, so Fight, which comes out on Tuesday, and then Original Sin by Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson, that comes out May 20th. I think those two books are going to make this look way worse than we knew. That the situation had advanced further. There were more concerns. The Biden people were ignoring those concerns. There were more signs that he was degrading. So I have a feeling that by the end of May, Joe Biden and his inner circle are going to even be more persona non grata than they are right now in the Democratic Party. I don't think anyone's clamoring to have Joe Biden campaign for them right now, but I think by the end of May, he will be someone that no one wants around. And look, I think I'm going to cover this extensively because I do think it was a scandal. I do think the last president of the United States was in physical and mental decline. How much? I don't know. But in some stage of physical and mental decline, and his aides purposely kept that information and worked to present an image of him. He's healthy. He's great. He has so much energy. That did not comport with reality. So,
Chris Celiza. Is that who this is? I'm trying to read it. It looks like it. Chris Celiza.
And I want to talk specifically.
Got it. Matt Van Swol putting this out. The first full-length documentary film on Hurricane Helene in Western North Carolina, just released by WLOS. It's called A Long Road Home. It hurts to watch this, but it contains some of the best interviews and footage I've ever seen from the storm. I need to send him our documentary.
And when tighten it
way is to also.
Hey everybody, I'm out.
I'm there that we couldn't even make communication with.
At that Shell gas station at the
Falling there. Let me hit.
Maybe that's what'll happen this.
Tab.
Anyway, check it out. 36 years ago, Ricky Vaughn made his debut for the Cleveland Indians. Man, that movie's 36 years old. Jeez. Insurrection Barbie here. Good question.
I'm in downtown LA, Skid Row, and I want to point out a few.
I have an affinity for the tragedy in Western North Carolina. I have an affinity for the tragedy of the homeless situation in Los Angeles. I lived there for a lot of years, and it just breaks my heart that nobody has been accountable and nobody's been helping. You don't help people by letting them build encampments. You help them by taking them into a facility for treatment. These are ill people. They're mentally ill. They are, in some cases, physically ill, drug addicted. Most. You don't just walk past these problems. You need to help. Oh, no, you don't have a right to kidnap someone or arrest someone for vagrancy, for homelessness. Homelessness is not a crime. You don't get to just take over the sidewalks and build these disgusting shanty towns, these drug dens, these criminal hubs. They need treatment. They need to get help get back on their feet. Build a big facility, a big, beautiful facility in some of that California desert area where nothing's going on. Make a nice, big, beautiful, air-conditioned building with resources and good food and help and mental health and detox. And not everybody can be helped, but you can't just You know, they come up with these spending bills. Yeah, we're going to get some money to fight the homelessness situation. Yeah, where does it go? She's asking this question here. Where does the money go?
Few things that's gone on here in the past few years. In 2023, Gavin Newsom set aside $750 million to build tiny homes for people just like this that are surrounding by me. Somehow that money's gone. In 2019, they set aside $24 billion to go towards the homeless. Somehow that money's gone. It's unaccounted for. I want to talk about a few.
And if you go back a couple weeks, I had Adam Kokesh back on the show. I've interviewed him a couple times over the years. And he and I were on the steps of LA City Hall with Elvis Summers and others talking about tiny homes for the homeless and saying, hey, on the VA, on the grounds of the VA, or if you have some park area, like, or you have some unused space in the desert, create some spaces where you can have communities where people can get healthy, get right again, get them up off the streets. You can't just allow this stuff to happen and call yourself a proper city. And nothing's been done. We did that 10 years ago, probably. Nothing's been done. If anything, things have gotten worse.
Few politicians from here. One is Nancy Pelosi. She's been serving these people since 2007. Her net worth is over 120 million. Another person here, Maxine Waters, she's been serving the people here in California since 1990. Her net worth is over $10 million. And Gavin Newsom, who knows what his net worth is, but we know he is building a $9 million home in San Francisco, California. Their leaders, the leaders of California, they failed these people here in Los Angeles and in California. California has actually been one of the highest states in America that people have fled from. Over 66 million people have left California in the last few years, and yet Gavin Newsom, he's out there holding a podcast when he should be working on his state. He might be making a run for it in 2028, and I hope people remember this that's behind me.
Yep. Babylon Beast, what did you say, David? Yeah, there seems to be very little compassion for the homeless people. There is. And you know what? I mean, you have to work to clean up your communities, and then you have to have services for these people. The state, the city, they're failing these people. You got a lot of concern from the communities that don't want piles of trash and dangerous, crazy, ranting, raving homeless people attacking them. Scared to walk past the sidewalk, scared to let your kids play. Scared for the animals rummaging around, and piles and piles of trash taking over alleys and setting up tents in between buildings. And it's just madness. You know, the citizens of communities are calling out for help and saying, you can't do this in our neighborhood. You got to get rid of the shopping carts, the piles of trash. It's criminal activities. People are ranting and raving. They're either super high on drugs or they're mentally ill. Take them away so they can get help. No help. The ACLU or these organizations, oh, no, homelessness is not a crime. You cannot allow these people to live how they've been living. They need treatment. I don't have the right to just go camp out and claim a part of a public sidewalk as my new home. I don't have that right. That's not a right that you have. You don't have the right to just camp out on somebody's private property or in an alley and go, this is where I live now. You can't. That's not how it works. If everybody did that, what would the place look like? And it's getting worse. Yeah, definitely a lack of compassion for the homeless people. And then finally here, end on a high note. Babylon B, nice piece of humor. NPR says they always strive to feature a broad range of opinions, from slightly communist to very communist. All of the perspectives, all the important perspectives that matter. And I've given you some perspectives that matter. From rational to very rational, I believe. But if you have any disagreements with me, type them in the comments. It's called the Agree to Disagree Show. You can disagree with me on anything. Let's have a conversation about it. And that's what I had planned to talk with you about today. Thank you for joining me. Once again, follow the New American Media on Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitch, Kick, DLive, and YouTube. The New American Media is on Telegram and Signal at TNAM and TNAM Chat. TNAM and TNAM Chat. On X, we're at American_media_. Please subscribe to our podcast. On Spotify and Apple as the Agree to Disagree Show. And for anyone out there that would like to donate, we are on Patreon at the New American Media, Venmo at Brian Engelman, Cash App $ Brian Engelman, and PayPal at Fuzz Installment. Thank you to everybody for watching, chiming in, Kenneth, David, and everyone else out there lurking and listening and watching after the fact on all of these platforms where we post. We'll be back again soon. I think tomorrow. Yeah, planning on tomorrow. If all goes well. And yeah, one of these days there's going to be a nice garage sale Saturday happening. I don't know if that's tomorrow or not. We'll see how the weather looks and how I'm feeling. But if we do that, probably do an evening show. And look, we might end up moving this to the evenings anyway, based on a couple of factors. I'm kind of hinting at it. Just keep your eyes peeled. But yes, please, to anyone who is now watching us on YouTube, like David, Bella's Chance, what's up? There you go. See, there's lurkers out there. People watching but not commenting. Thank you for watching. Yeah, I appreciate it. But yeah, if you missed me for the past couple days, like I said, YouTube is not a trusted partner. They are not a valued partner. They don't treat me with respect. They don't treat you with respect. This isn't about me. It's like what one of Trump's best phrases he had during that 2024 election, the fantastic, perfect election campaign. I mean, it's something for the record books. Like, we'll never see something like that again. Unbelievable. He said, "They're not coming after me. They're coming after you. I just happen to be in the way." YouTube is not disrespecting me. They're disrespecting you. And now you finally have an option. I'm not getting paid by Rumble. They're not a sponsor of mine. I have no partnership agreements with them, although I am monetized on their channel. If you let an advertisement, I think if you let 2 advertisements play, it's like a penny or 2 being tossed into the wishing well. You know, let the ad play. Go in the other room. Grab a bowl of cereal. Get some coffee. Let the ad play. Yes, Bella's Chance. That's what I'm saying. You couldn't find me on YouTube because YouTube doesn't care about you. Not about me. They don't care about you. We do. You guys, I mean, David, Bella's Chance. Like, you guys, Kenneth might have ducked out. Do I provide something of value? Actually, let me ask you the question this way. It's not about. I learned this with comedy, with stand-up and crowd work. All right, I did some crowd work, and it didn't go. It went in a way that I had to evaluate and go, well, what happened there? I needed to prepare specific and better questions. So let me ask you a specific and better question than the 3 that I almost asked. Okay. Why do you watch the Agree to Disagree show or the TNAM AM show here on the New American Media? Why do you tune in when you see that we pop on the screen? In your own words, what is it about Brian Engelman, the New American Media, the TNAM AM show, or the Agree to Disagree show? Why do you click when you see that we're live? Why do you watch? I'm actually very curious to hear your 2 responses. David and Bella's Chance. Like I said, I think Kenneth might have ducked out at this point. I haven't seen a comment in a while. He might be getting a really big cup of coffee. Or the people on Twitch or Kick. We're adding new sites, and I've been told that I need to jump onto TikTok. I've been avoiding it, but I think I need to. I just can't trust YouTube to be there for me. I cannot build a foundation, a company foundation, a financial. I can't build a house on the foundation. that they provide us. I just can't do it. And YouTube is definitely doing stupid things, David. Yes, you're right. But out of curiosity, tell me, David, Bella's chance, when you see that this show is going live, why do you watch? Not to put you on the spot, but let me put you on the spot. Because I think I try to unpack the most relevant stories. I try to riff and go on, he's on another high horse. He's going on another diatribe. He's just going on and on again, or whatever it is that I'm saying or doing. I'm trying to add insight. I'm trying to properly frame and analyze what's happening in the world around me. I'm trying to be entertaining. I'm trying to be timely. I'm trying to be funny. I'm trying to be accurate. Maybe more so than anything else. I'm just trying to be honest with my interpretation of how I see things. I don't always get things right. Sometimes I say things that in hindsight, maybe I'd choose to phrase differently or change my opinion. We all do. Nobody's perfect. But it's insane that YouTube, Google pretends to have a market cornered on misinformation or community guidelines that they never specifically verify. Meta does the same exact thing. They don't even tell you why. They just, I don't like the cut of this guy's jib. There's a phrase we need to bring back. Bella's Chance, here we go. Bella's Chance says, good, pertinent information, especially enjoyable, like our presence and our presentation. And Nimbus, he's sleeping through today. I think our schedule was a little off today. He would have normally been meowing and asking for treats or like a midday snack. But I think he got a late breakfast. David saying, because I provide great content. Well, thank you. Thank you. I try to provide value, and I will never intentionally mislead you about anything. You might disagree about the Cleveland Indians' decision to change to the Cleveland Guardians, in my opinion on it. You might disagree about whether or not the Signal story is super important and, oh my gosh, heads need to roll and everyone needs to be fired or not. There are opinions. I provide opinions. I'm a commentator. I'm also a news guy. I'm a bit of this. I'm a bit of that, like most of us are. Well, I'm a strict news person. I'm a strict opinion person. It's like it's all kind of a blur of, a pie chart. Some of this, some of that, some of this, some of that. But I try to provide great content. David says it's a great show. And you're right. For 14 years, David, 14 years, YouTube has been trying everything in their power to not let people see our show. You're right. And I still keep going. I still think I have something to offer the universe. I still think that my voice matters in this world. And it's tough when you're not getting the views to cover the overhead. Part of the reason why you might start seeing a nightly show. I dedicated all of last year to go all in on myself, to go all in on the New American Media. In January, we went to the inauguration in Washington, D.C. Took a week. Took a week going to Chicago for the Democrat convention. Took a week going to Milwaukee for the Republican convention. Took a week going to D.C. for the Libertarian convention. Investing in lighting and cameras and audio equipment and GoPros and this and that and computer upgrades and internet upgrades and infrastructure upgrades and studio upgrades. Like, I went all in because I didn't think there was much of a country left. If we didn't grab the wheel of the ship, we were going to crash directly into the iceberg. And I didn't want to see it shrink. Didn't want to see it sink, see the ship sink. But yeah, now I might need to go do something like I've done for a lot of years covering this. I mean, I've worked in the private sector. I've had jobby jobs. I would love for this to be my main job. I really would. But when YouTube won't let you monetize your content or show your content to the 6,500 subscribers, how do you do it? You know, to everybody that makes contributions like through various outlets, like some chip in through Venmo. It's like, brother, I appreciate you. Some of them on Patreon. It's like, sister, thank you so much. And it helps. It definitely contributes. But you know, I don't know how to reach the level I would like to be at. Waiting for growth on some of these platforms feels like, you know, it's the never-ending task. It's Atlas holding the weight of the world on his shoulders. And really, I felt a burden last year, and I felt a responsibility to try to shape the narrative and make sure that we didn't end up with a fourth Obama term. We couldn't have handled it. We couldn't have survived it. I believe that at the core of my being. And so I'm proud of the work we did at these conventions and the interviews we've done and the shows that we've produced, the 1,800 videos over 14 years. I love it. And they are doing everything in their power to not let us see it. So, you know, I just have to figure out what path makes sense. I reach out to places like Real America's Voice, who I contributed content to with Jack Posobiec and Steve Bannon last year in the Bronx. That was another trip. Went to the Bronx. Got to jump on their network. And I'm like, hey, I'd like to work with you guys. Crickets. Hear nothing back. You're like, okay. I thought it went well. Maybe they're just not that into you. Or maybe they never received the message. I don't know, because I didn't get a reply. And it's like a little weird after several messages. Reach out to the Louder with Crowder team. Interviewed Gerald A. Morgan, the CEO. Only sent him one message a week ago. Haven't heard back yet. But it's like, I would love to work with Outkick or The Blaze or Real America's Voice or Louder with Crowder, like one of these established companies that has infrastructure where I don't have to do all of the show prep, all of the on-air talent, all of the interview bookings, the scheduling, you know, the bookings, all of the research, all of the graphics, all of the uploads, all of the text and the writing and the uploading and the website maintenance. It's a lot. It's a lot to do on your own. It's especially a lot to do when it's not keeping the lights on, you know? But I do think that I have a nose for news. I feel like I always have. I try to highlight the important stories, and I'll sift through things maybe you've never seen before. I got a comment off of a Facebook message, and it's like, all of you people, you send me messages here, there, everywhere. Replies on X, direct messages through X, replies on a Facebook private group, comments through Facebook Messenger, emails, PO box. Like, people hit me up 100 different ways. But yeah, he said, I'm just going to paraphrase it, but he said something like, you put out the absolute best information every day. He said, I watch Fox, and then I compare it to the stories you're showing me. He's like, you're showing the important stuff. 70% of the stuff you share is stuff I don't see anywhere else. He goes, you do the best job of anyone I know. I was like, damn, dude, that's an awesome compliment. Thank you. You know, so I think I do a good job. I love unpacking the news. I'll do this every day. This is one of the most fun moments of every day. And yeah, today I got really riled up watching that kid get curb stomped. I did not appreciate seeing that. And it's that sheepdog in me. You know, it's that firefighter in me. It's that energy. It's that superhero. I'm seeing something that's going wrong. I got to fix it. Quantum leap. I got to go set something right that once went wrong. I don't know. I hope it's not some sort of stupid God complex or something. I don't feel that way. But when I see injustices, when I see danger, I want to alert people. Hey, you're driving right toward an iceberg. Go left or right. Get the hell out of it. You're in the wrong course. You know, The Departed with Jack Nicholson. It's a blank screen. It's all black. It's like this. Movie starts off like this, and it goes, I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me. And that's how the movie starts. And I want my world to be better. I want humanity to be better. I want the earth to be better. You know, Dr. Jordan Peterson says, clean your room. I'm looking around my room now. I go, wow, this studio has 100 things I need to do. But I find it important to unpack the news and talk about it with you together and get your comments, get your questions, get your jokes. It's all cool. Like I love it. So that's why I do what I do. And that's why I appreciate having you folks here. But yes, just a plea for the people like David and Bella's Chance who missed me for the past week. Please. There's Kenneth. I am Iron Brain. If you heard my stand-up set, you would have heard my explained story about being Brain. I am Iron Brain. Iron Man. Yeah, I like that. No, and I know I'm fully aware how super douchey it was to call myself a superhero. But it's that theory. If I see something that's going, I see a bad person trying to do something to a good person, I got to jump in. No, I'm not putting up with this. And when you see stupid, out of control spending, you see stupid foreign entanglements, you see stupid, divisive race hoaxes, you see stupid race hate, and that goes every direction, people. You know, I don't want to sit by. I want to get involved, and I want to talk about it. I want to try to fix it. I want to call for justice. I want to see these deep staters held accountable for the crimes that they've perpetrated on the American people over the past 20 years through the Obama doctrine, weaponizing our own government against us. That's like grabbing a kid's arm and hitting him in the face. I'm not hitting you. I'm not hitting you. You're hitting you. Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself. I am Lawnmower Man. Wasn't that a movie? Was Lawnmower Man a movie from Stephen King? Needs some mental health assistance, by the way. Bella's Chance says, damn, Gina. In my opinion, you're on par with the multi-thousand view shows. Keep on keeping on. It will click. I just found you. Hey. Thanks, Bella's Chance. And please, everybody, like, try sharing our content. Like, maybe copy the link and shoot a text out to some of your smart friends that like are into this type of stuff. Be like, hey, check out this dude's show. Join us. Like when we're live, we all kind of sit and, you know, we'll have it on the background. We'll leave comments and drop jokes and stuff. Have a good time and unpack the news together. That is the way it grows. It's been the growth has been. You know, things are growing, but it's like, is it growing fast enough? Like, how long will it take before this can be the thing that I do that provides the income that I need to exist, let alone thrive? It's been a labor of love, but I do enjoy it. But yeah, thank you, Bella's Chance. Thanks for just finding us. I appreciate that. Kenneth. I'm not into men. I can see Tim Walls trying really hard to get that point across. Lindsey Graham. Mm-hmm. Kiss my grits. That was another weird story I didn't cover. It was probably on... Actually, I didn't see in my X feed. President Trump is backing Lindsey Graham. Again. There's nobody there that can primary that guy? I don't get it. That's a move. I don't know. So maybe I'll discuss that part of the show. Maybe I'll discuss that topic on tomorrow's show. But for now, I'm going to wrap it up. Appreciate all of you. Go out and watch some baseball. It's just spring is here. I'm just so happy. Get some sunlight. Go for a walk. Walking is some of the best exercise we can get. I spend way too many hours in front of these screens, and like I said, I love it, but you got to make a pivot and do the other things as well. So that's what I'm going to do now. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk.